Hello everyone, thank you for joining for this new CATIA live talk. My name is Marc Fandard. I'm in charge of core engineering portfolio at CATIA. I'm here with Dinesh Kumar. Hello Dinesh.
Hello Mark, hello everyone.
So today this new talk will talk about creating assemblies in CATIA xDesign. So just as a reminder, CATIA xDesign is a web application that runs in a web browser that allows you to create mechanical products, mechanical designs. And it's part of a product which is called 3D Innovator. If you are interested in testing 3D Innovator, you can apply to the CATIA 3D Innovator tribe in the CATIA user community. So you just have to connect to the CATIA community with the address that's right on the screen that we will display on the screen. go.3ds.com/CATIA. Yes, so you can apply to the tribe, and we select 50 people every month to be able to test the product and to give us some feedback. So if you are interested, don't hesitate to apply. Okay, so today we will talk about how to create assemblies in CATIA xDesign. So Dinesh has prepared scenarios to show most of what you can do when creating assemblies, constraints, mates, etc. So please, Dinesh, go on and show us how it works.
Okay, so today we'll learn to create and validate assembly in CATIA xDesign, and by end of this session we'll be creating this complete jack assembly and we'll validate it.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are in xDesign widget and we have an empty component here. So let's first understand the product structure in xDesign. So many of us are using products and parts for creating assemblies, uh, parts for storing the geometries, and products for creating assemblies. But in xDesign, there is a single entity called components here, which is typically a physical product and 3D shape. So this setup gives us the flexibility to use this component for geometry generation as well as for assembly creation.
Okay.
So let's see how this component can be used for both the purposes. So just for demonstration, I'm just creating a sketch here on the ZX plane, and we'll create a line here, and that just apply some dimension here, because we'll be using it later. Okay, so you can see that in this component we have created a feature, that is the sketch, and now we'll insert a component under it. So for that you have to go to the assembly tab of the action bar, and here all assembly commands are available. So click on insert new component, and you see you can name the component here, and you can choose the various options, like you really want to edit that one or you want to remain in the current component. So click OK. So here you see that a new component has been inserted under it, and since we have chosen to edit that, so it automatically activates this component.
Okay.
So here, to find out which one is active, you can see the active component is in bold with white background, while rest of the components are in normal font and with gray background. Okay, so now we'll insert an existing component. So you can go to the assembly tab and click on insert an existing component. So when you click here, it will take you to the search window, and from here you can search your data. So I've just created a prefix for that so that I can quickly find that, and then you can select the data you want to insert and then click on OK. So here the new component, the existing component has been inserted under the active component. Okay, so let's see how there is what is the other way to insert the insert the component. So you can directly search the component here, and it will take you to the same search window. You can minimize it. It will uh, keep that window to the right of your widget so that you can see both the search results as well as your widget, and then you can just drag drop a single component, or you can drag drop multiple components. So here I will just select a single component as well as a sub assembly with control button, and then I will just drag drop in the widget. So here you see that the subassembly is there, and you can also choose you can also control the number of instances under it, and then you can move to the next component, and you can similarly you can also control the number of instances of this component. So if you have like many components to insert and many instances, you can just control in all of them in just single step, and you just click insert all, and everything, all the components will be inserted.
So we see that it's been inserted just below the active components that was physical product one.
Yes, so this is, so as of now we'll just hide the sub assembly because we want to create mate between two, and you can also filter the planes through this. And now we want to create mates, or the assembly constraints between the two components are called mates in xDesign. So let's see how you can create mate between the two components. So first thing, that while creating a subassembly, the first component is by default fixed in xDesign, because you need to have something fixed, and then you build your assembly based on that with reference to that component. And also it is useful while validating your assembly. So first way is to you select the surface. So you can select the surface like this one, and you can press and hold the control key, and you can select the surface, both the surfaces, and then the contextual menu appears, which proposes you the mates. So you can choose the coincident mate here. So you see here in the mates, the first mate is created, that is a coincident mate, and the secondary mate is the planar. So you can validate it. And another way of creating a mate is from the assembly tab. So you go here, and here you can click on the mate. So here you get the panel. So through this you are in the multi-selection mode, so you don't have to press the control key. You can simply select the surfaces. So this surface, and just select this surface, and similarly you are proposed the possible mates between these two surfaces. So we are choosing the concentric mate here and validate.
Okay, so depending on what you've selected, you are proposed the right constraints, and the mate is deduced from the constraints you've created. So now we have created the revolute mate.
Yes, and you can just you can just drag the component with your mouse, and you can see that it is revolute mate, and it is working fine.
Yeah, so we can check the degrees of freedom like this.
Okay. Okay, so now we will create mates with this assembly component. So let's just show this assembly. So as of now, we see that like here we are moving this particular component, and it is moving with respect to this due to revolute mate. And but in sub assembly, you see there are many components here, and there are mates between these components. But at this assembly level, this sub assembly will be treated as a component. So if you drag some component here, so it will not take into account the mates between them. It will just behave as a single component. Okay, so we want to use this assembly and all the already created mates at the product one level, so that we can validate the complete jack assembly. So one way is to recreate everything at this product level. But in xDesign, you have the dissolve assembly feature, in which you can do it in just a single click. So you go to this assembly contextual menu, you click on dissolve subassembly, and this feature will move all the components along with its mates one level up in the hierarchy. So you see that all these mates and all these components will move under the product one.
Okay, so we don't need to, we just, it just moves everything one level up, and we don't have to do that manually.
Yes. So now you can see that all the mates and everything has been moved under the product one. And now if you move some component here, then it will work properly. It will respect the mates. Okay, so as of now, since this component was fixed in the subassembly, then it is also fixed in the product one as well. So let's just unfix it because we want it to be floating. So, and then we have to hide these components for a while because we want to create mates between these components. Let's just hide them. Okay, and now we want to create mates between this component and this component. So let's just quickly create mate. So we'll start from here and we choose this surface and this surface, and just choose the coincident mate. And you can also choose to apply and continue so that you can create series of mates quickly. So you can just choose this face and this face and coincident and validate. So here you have this mates created, and now we want to replicate the same link on the other side, on this side. So one way is to instantiate it again and then recreate all the mates from the scratch. You can create one more instance by just pressing the control key and dragging the component. So it will create another component.
Okay.
Okay, so but as of now we don't need it, so we'll just delete it. I'll show you a more efficient way. So another way is like copy with mates. So you click on copy with mates and you just select the component you want to create an instance of. So it automatically calculates the mates with other components, and by default select its reference surfaces. So it's like almost half of the work done for you. You just have to select the target surfaces.
Okay.
So for coincident mate, it shows that this particular surface has been highlighted. So we want to use this surface now. So choose this surface. Okay, and now we see that it is now kind of interfering with that. So you can flip the direction.
Okay.
Okay, then you choose another concentric face. So this one, and similarly you can choose another one as well. So for the coincident mate, we want to choose this surface instead of this one, and for concentric we want to choose this surface. Okay, so here then validate. So here we see that in just single step everything is created. So all the four mates and the components are just created through the single panel.
Yeah, and if the mates were already created, we are sure not to forget one when copying the component.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and let's just show the links which we have hidden.
Okay, so we almost have half of the jack.
Yes, and now we want to create another half, like on the other side. So there are a lot of stuff here to do. One thing is that you instantiate every component and then create mate. But in xDesign, you can just use a mirror with symmetry just to replicate it quickly on the other side. So choose a YZ plane as the reference plane.
Okay.
And then you just have to choose the components you want to replicate. So these four links and the center pivot, this one. Okay, and it's mirror command just mirroring it on the other side, but with symmetry mate, these components on either side of the plane will be linked so that they move in symmetry.
Okay, so just with one command, we create all the symmetric components plus the symmetric mates.
Yes. Okay, so here you see that the symmetry has been created, and now if you move this side, the other side will automatically move in symmetry.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just create few more mates quickly to complete our jack assembly. So select this surface and this surface, and then choose the concentric mate. Okay, and then you have to create mate between these surfaces. So you can create mate between more than two components. So you can just select the surfaces and then just choose the concentric mate. Validate. Yes, so here we have the jack assembly, and here if you move this component, you can move them precisely using the robot as well. So you can move them freely with a mouse drag, or if you want the movement in particular direction, you can just use compass.
Okay. Okay, great. So all the constraints of the jack were created.
Okay, so another thing I want to show is the design in context. So till now we have not designed or created any geometry under it. We had just inserted existing components. So let's just insert a new empty component. You can name it. So let's just name it pin and then click OK. So you see the new component has been inserted and it has been activated. So when some component is active, then rest of the assembly by default goes into some with some opacity, but you can change it to show all or hide all from here. So I just show them all, and while designing in context, you will take references from the existing components. So you have to control the links between them. So by default option in xDesign is that it does not keep the links with the reference surfaces, but if you want to keep the links, so you can activate this option here. So with this option on, when you use some surface, like I want to create a sketch on this surface as a reference, so you see that the external reference has been created for this surface. And similarly, if you want to use some like edges for your as a sketch entity, all these are taken as external references and the link is kept.
Okay, so if you change the position of your inputs, then it will be updated in your sketch.
Yes, so you can quickly we can quickly create a pin and validate. So you can at any point of time, like if here we have created the external references, but at some point of time you feel that your addition or modification the geometry should not impact the other components, you can isolate your references, but it is a one-time operation and you cannot reverse it.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want to show another way of creating assembly. So right now we are in the pin and we have added like few features here, and now I want these components, these features under a new component under the pin. So how we can do that in xDesign is like you can go to the assembly tab, and from here you can click on make component, and you can choose the features which you want to move to a new component under the existing or active component. So let's just choose the extrude, and all the related features related to the extrude are automatically taken into account. And you can name your new component. So right now by default it is physical product 2, but you can name as well, and then you can validate it. So in just one click, you have the physical product 2 under the pin, and all the features are moved from pin to the new physical product.
Okay.
Okay, so in the end, I want to show the assembly pattern. So let's just activate the root, and from here you can click on the pattern, linear pattern, and you choose this sub assembly. And then you can choose the direction like YZ direction, and you can set the spacing like 1000 mm, and you see that it is there. Similarly, you can choose the other direction as well. So this time ZX and like 1000. And similarly, you can also choose to switch. You can switch. You can maybe like you can launch the new circular pattern from here, or you can switch, and then you have to choose the axis, and you can. It will be kind of converted to circular pattern as well. Just
okay.
one.
To create a bunch of jacks.
Yeah. So I think we try to cover everything from creating a basic mate to inserting a single or multiple instances, and then design in context, and finally assembly pattern. So I think you will now be able to create some interesting assemblies.
Yes, thank you, Dinesh. That was a very interesting scenario with a lot of very efficient functions. I think that was our last episode on what you can do with CATIA xDesign. If you have some question, we'll be happy to answer in the comments of the videos, especially on the community. So once again, the CATIA user community, go.3ds.com/CATIA. Anyone can apply. It's free. You just need to create a DS passport if you don't have one. Thanks a lot, Dinesh.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone.
And goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.